different. I think the Syria one is very clear. Because a typical person in Lebanon will not drive to Syria. The people that drive to Syria are a very subset who either feel safe, have the connections, or whatever. That's different. All right. So we have protective rights, which hopefully is clear. And then, of course, we have our substantive rights. Now, who direct how the asset is used? This is also important. So, if the customer directs how the asset is used, so number one, we have an identified asset, point one. We get the economic benefits, point two. The third issue is control. If you don't control it, it's not a lease. So, if the customer says how it's used, that's clear. If the vendor says how it's used, it's not a lease. So going back to my example there with the electricity, that might not be a lease based on this aspect here. But if it's predetermined, this is probably more applicable for the power example. If it's predetermined, what we want to look at is the following. Does the customer either operate the asset or have they designed the asset? So if a customer designed it but doesn't operate it, it's or. It's or. If a customer operates it or designs it, it's considered to be a lease. If a customer doesn't design it and doesn't operate it, they don't direct how the asset is used. Then it's not a lease. Okay? So that's very important there. It's who directs how the asset is used. So if you look at your handouts on page 93, page 93, I'll give you a couple minutes to look through those. You all have your handouts now, right? They're in the back somewhere. Do you have one more handout back there? Does everybody have one? There's more seats up front if you want. There's a couple of seats up there. You don't have to hide in the back. Sure. Do you want a seat up front? Okay. Yes.
In this definition, when we talk about an exchange for a consideration,
yes.
If that consideration is embedded in a contract, then what we do? For example, I'll just give you an example. We are working in a hospital, okay? The hospital has an arrangement for its blood testing equipment, whereby the pharmaceutical company puts in their machines, which are used by the hospital. The only condition is that the reagents that are used for that machine would be bought from that pharmaceutical company. So there is no consideration involved over here in monetary terms, but of course, whatever revenue is generated is
I'll go through that in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Ask it in front of everybody. I'll go through. That's a good question. Is there a microphone when they have questions? Because they're kind of quiet.
Yeah. You can get that arranged.
Not for me, just for them. Yeah. You can hear me fine back here, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you give me an example where the customer doesn't operate the asset, but it's finance, it's lease?
So the customer could have designed it. So do these questions first, then I'll go through. There's an example in there. Do these here first, and then I'll go through it. It's actually on the next question. We have that one. Don't worry, I'll make sure I answer it, but I have that example there already. So
question.
Sure.
Let's say a company having storage tanks, okay, and they construct storage tanks for petroleum products, and those storage tanks we, on a long-term basis, we give it to the customers. Being an owner of the company, I have the right to maintain and operate those storage tanks, but those storage tanks are dedicated for a specific period, like say 5 years to 10 years, to a specific customer to use it the way they want to use it.
Then it would be a
So
lease.
then it would be a lease.
Probably, yeah.
How come? We are the designer. We have designed it.
But the customer is able to, there's an identified asset?
It's not an electronic.
Okay, it's not, you can't substitute it because it's there, right?
It's there.
So you can't substitute it. They have all the economic benefits, right? They use it for whatever purpose to make money, correct?
Yes.
And they control how it's used.
No, I cannot distinguish how. What do you mean by the control? I'm maintaining the assets.
Controls on the output, not the input.
Yeah, you can say to a certain extent they can maintain the output. They can have a control because whenever they let's say,
What is the customer? They're like a gas
OMCs,
station?
like OMCs,
What's
oil marketing company.
You mean a gas station?
The oil companies, those
The
who
d-
imports oil from outside the country.
So it's a distribution company, right?
Like a distribution.
So it's like a distributor for many gas stations.
Yes, you can see that. Like it
And they choose who to sell the gas to, right?
yeah, they choose who to sell.
So they
We
can.
are just an intermediary where they can put their oil for a temporary period, like say, because we are the importers. In Pakistan, the distribution companies imports.
But the tanks are only used for that one customer, right? No one else.
No one else.
So that would be a lease. It's
That would be a lease because the output, the OMC controls because
What's OMC?
oil marketing company, or distribution.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that term. Okay.
That term is commonly used here, so that's classified as an lease.
How do they pay for these tanks?
Like monthly payment. They import in barrels, let's say. So they pay us per barrel, per metric ton, per month.
So there's another issue. We'll come on to that. The variable consideration, then, right?
Yes, there's a variable
So then, okay, let's ask. That's a good question there, because the consideration is variable. It's a lease, but there's nothing to record.
How would it go?
You don't, because it's variable. I'll get into the, because I have to get to the end of the chapter to answer that question.
Okay.
These easy?
Yeah.
They're easy, huh? The break is ready now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if it is, I'll go through the answers after the break.
All right, sure.
See, more people come, right? Do you want a table back here for you? They're kind of quiet today so far. They weren't quiet last time. I'll get them talking. These easy?
Yes, it's easy.
Is it? Some of them are. We'll have a, you can turn off. We'll have a break.
Oh, acha. Half hour.
I'll come back to you. Okay.